Sebastian City Planning and Zoning Commission to order. First order of business is our Pledge of Allegiance. Would you all please rise? If you have any caps to it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dory, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Roth?
Here.
Mr. McManus? Here. Mr. Dodd?
Here.
Mr. Kizelbosch?
Here.
Ms. Cottenberg?
Here.
Mr. Hugan? Mr. Carter?
Present.
Mr. Reyes?
Here.
And alternate member, Mr. Alvarez, has been excused for tonight's meeting. First of all, I would like to welcome back our city engineer, that's second on the agenda, I'm sorry, our city attorney. It's very good to see you back, Attorney Ginsburg, and nice to have your smiling face as reassurance that we're all in order. Yes, we really did miss you, honestly. Second, I would like to call on our city attorney to make a very special introduction.
Actually, the city engineer, Frank Watanabe. I do want to introduce, from this point on, you're going to have a new staff person as the liaison for the Planning and Zoning Commission. Her name is Marissa Moore, and I apologize. And she's the new director of community development. She's also the redevelopment manager, and she's also special events manager. So with that, Marissa Moore.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm also Parks Administration and Grants Coordinator. So yeah, a lot of hats.
Very, very nice to have you on board.
Yeah, thank you.
I met Marissa earlier in the week, and she will be a tremendous asset to us with her credentials. It took me, well, almost 7 minutes to read them. So it's impressive. So I'm glad you're here and working on our staff on our behalf. So welcome, and feel free to participate as appropriate. Thanks.
Thank you.
Chairman Roth, I do want to highlight that I do want to appreciate and thank you guys for letting me be your liaison for the last year and a half. I'm not a planner, but sometimes an engineer does help, and so I do want to thank you guys, and I appreciate the opportunity of working here and being your liaison. So thank you.
Good. Thanks for your help. We will call on you from time to time. You can count on that. Next order of business is approval of minutes, and we do not have any, although I believe we'll be getting caught up on those pretty quickly here. Is there any unfinished business that anyone is aware of at this point? Hearing none, we'll move forward. While the two items of business we have really aren't open for public comment, we've kind of made it tradition in the past that we would welcome comments speaking in favor of and opposed to the item on the agenda. And just a note that we do limit to 5 minutes, and I don't know that that will even come into play tonight, but I just thought I would mention it. New business tonight, we have two accessory structure reviews. The first is on 1590 Quiescent Lane, and it's for a detached garage. Marissa, would you, or who is going to introduce this, Marissa or Dory?
I'll speak on I'll speak on behalf of the application.
Okay.
I don't know if the applicant would like to come up and just maybe give us a little bit presentation on his project, his application. Mr. Anthony Ferrer.
Basically, I have a home that has a single-car garage. I'd like to have basically make it a two-car, and that's the purpose of the addition. It's a 20 by 30. I've kind of gone over all the drainage issues with Phil as far as I added extra drainage because my house does sit lower than others in the neighborhood. So we ran pipes from the back to the front, Then everything, it's on the higher side of my property, so there shouldn't be any drainage issues there from what he could tell. That was basically it. It's a metal building. It's going to match my house. I paid extra to have the stucco look on it, paid extra to have a regular garage door versus a commercial-looking door to make it match the house as much as I could.
Good. Thank you.
And as we've noted in the staff report, he is meeting all the conditions of the accessory structure regulations. On page 2 on the top, I know it is confusing the way the staff report is on that he does have a couple of check marks on the does not comply. And again, just to go over what that is on item number 4, an accessory structure can encroach into a required rear yard setback, which is 20 feet, if you meet those 4 items. And if you don't meet those 4 items, you have to meet the regular setback of 20 feet. And which, because he doesn't meet 2 of them, he does have to meet the setback of 20 feet. His proposed setback is 42. So again, this is just, we just listed the items of the regulations, and this is exposed in the staff report. He does have an existing shed that is proposed to remain on the property, but with that shed and the new shed, he still is under the 1,000 square foot minimum. Because this is not over 750 square feet, the requirement is to be similar to the house, and we've noted where they are going to be having a similar roof, similar siding materials, and it will match the colors of the house. I believe he has taken out a couple of trees that he needed to put the new concrete pad in the detached garage, but I believe I did verify with the homeowner that he will have, and with the tree credits, the 15 trees that he needs for on the double lot.
There's 44 trees on the lot.
There you go. And staff recommends approval of this request.
Okay, thank you, Dory. At this point, I would ask the commissioners if you have any questions. We'll start on my left first. Any questions?
No questions.
Mr. Reyes?
I have no questions.
Okay. Any questions on the right?
No. The sketch, I have a question. The sketch is not clear to me. It's a new concrete pad and then say detached garage. So what is that 13 feet with the new concrete pad? What will be there?
That's where my boat sits. So I'll have the house, my boat.
Mr. Farrow, they need to get John the mic. Yeah, that's right.
Just stay up front for a couple of minutes
Yeah,
here.
no problem. I'm going to have my boat in between my house and the garage.
Okay, so there won't be any roof on that thing, right?
No, there's no roof. It's going to be an open breezeway, and I'm doing it that way because of all the electrical that comes into the house on that side. I wanted to stay away from it, the power lines.
Okay.
So by having the boat there, it's protected.
Okay,
That's basically what that was.
thank you.
Any other questions, commissioners?
Yeah, I have one. You're listing this as a garage. Are you planning on putting concrete driveway out
No,
later?
no, I'm not doing a concrete driveway.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay,
That's another question if I can.
go ahead.
You brought up the electric, the power line connecting to the existing house, and I know this is a 14-foot high roof on this proposed detached garage, so I'm curious as to where that power line is plotting now on the property in reference
The,
to the new garage.
the power line goes on an angle back, and the new garage is going to be 13 feet or more away from that. It won't even come
So
close
there's
to
plenty
the
of clearance.
existing power
I
line.
guess we would look at that already, or construction.
Through the building,
Building
through the
department.
structural part review, I know Florida Power and Light, even with screen enclosures, they do have a minimum distance, but I think he's going to be okay. But that is one of the things they check through the building department review.
Are we planning on adding electric and water to this garage?
It's already, no water, but just electric, which I put in on the plans that I submitted.
Okay, no further questions, thank you.
And there is no planned commercial activity of any kind?
No, it's just a garage.
I noticed
Yeah, I only have a single, so it's.
Correct.
In this day and age, most houses come with a double, with mine being built so old. I just need more room.
yeah. Well, it's good. You live in a nice area, and it's be a nice improvement there.
Yeah, well, according to the guy from code enforcement, I've made some of the nicest improvements in Sebastian, according to him, from what my house looked like when I bought it to what it looks like now.
Does look nice. Thank you. Any other questions, commissioners? Anything the staff would like to add?
Staff recommends approval of the request.
Okay. I guess we're ready for a motion then. Is
I recommend approval.
the motion second?
Second.
Second. Okay. All those in, excuse me, all those in favor of the motion for approving the detached garage at 1590 Quiescent Lane, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll skip the roll call vote because it was pretty unanimous.
Motion carries.
Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they'll work on your building permit, and when you get back, you can pick it up.
The second item on the agenda tonight, which is also a detached garage for 163 Copley Terrace, is Mr. Barnett here to, would you please step forward, give us your name and address and a brief description of the plan?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to propose a detached garage, 24 by 29 in size. Will be all metal construction. Wind load will be 170 mile an hour. Concrete foundation would be monolithic, basically the same construction as the house would be. The home and the garage will be matched colors as far as the siding, the roof, and the trim. And down the road, I'm going to put a culvert pipe in for a possible down the road driveway. And at this point, I don't see it, but possibly down the road. I do have the actual colors from the manufacturer of the building. If you'd care to see them, I can show those to you.
That was in our packet. Thank you very much. That helps a lot in moving things forward to have those swatches provided. You did a very good job putting it together.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Anything else you'd like to add at this point?
No, not at the present time.
Okay, could we have the staff review report?
Yes, this is a request for a 24 by 29 detached garage. Mr. Barnett's situation is his house is currently under construction, so it's starting from the ground up. So he's kind of planned on what he's going to need for storage needs at the beginning of this. And so even though this is coming before you tonight and he's applied for the permit, I'm assuming that it won't be placed on the property until after they do final grading and all for the house?
Well, I'd like to possibly get the foundation put in.
Okay, when they're pouring the concrete. And that's why we did note a couple of things. The new house does have asphalt shingles, but he is going to, when I spoke to Mr. Barnett, he's going to paint they're a slate color, they're a silver color. So staff is all right with, even though this is a metal roof, it will match the colors. Again, he hasn't gone over the 750 square foot threshold, so it just has to be similar. With regards to the trees on the double lot, those will be planted, and I've already verified, and I believe I put in the packet his landscaping plan for the trees that have to be required before he has CO on the house. And so he will meet the 15 trees on the double lot, and that'll be checked before CO. Staff recommends approval of this request also.
Thank you. Question, Dory. You mentioned the landscape. I just see a tree calculation. Was that what you're referring to?
Yes, this is what came in with the initial application for the house. What this says is that there were some trees on the property, and based on the size, they are keeping 4 pines and some of the cabbage palms, and he is getting, based on the size, again, it's 11 tree credits. And so before his final inspection on the structure, he is proposing to plant 4 additional trees. And that does meet the code, what he needs for the size of property that he has. But those necessarily won't be planted for the accessory structure. He'll have to have those in by CO for the house final inspection.
Which will have to work with the construction of the new house also.
Correct, yes.
Correct. Mhm.
Okay. Okay, any of the commissioners, we'll start on the right-hand side this time. Any questions?
No questions. No question.
No questions?
Moving right along here. Anyone on the right? Left?
No question.
Mr. Reyes?
No questions.
Fantastic, thank you. Anyone here from the public wishing to speak in favor or opposition to this accessory structure? Okay, none, so any further questions? If we're not, we're ready to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the detached garage at 163 Copley Terrace as submitted.
Second.
Can I offer an amendment that include the two considerations that are in the staff report?
Yes, you may.
Or if you can amend the original motion, I guess it'd be fine. I'll withdraw the amendment.
I would go ahead and restate my motion to approve the detached garage at 163 Copley Terrace with the conditions considered by the staff.
And then I'll withdraw the amendment then.
Okay. So we'll go with this
And
amendment.
Mr. Carter, do you
we-
second that new motion?
Did I hear you confirm your approval? The second on it, okay. And there are 2 points, just for clarification, there are 2 points in here, one on the roof and the other on the tree requirements. So we have motion and second for that. Let's stick with procedure and let's have the roll call vote, please.
Mr. McManus?
Yes.
Mr. Kizilbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Cottenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Reyes?
Yes.
Mr. Roth?
Yes,
Mr. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Dodd?
Yes.
Motion carried.
thank you. Mr. Burnett, you're ready to go. Very fast meeting we have going on here tonight. Are there any commissioners' matters to be brought up or discussed at this point?
Yes, with zoning. So they're still
Yes.
working for the structural, but check with them to see if there's any comments.
Told me about a couple things.
Oh, okay, yes,
So other than that, we're okay then.
yes, with zoning. Yep.
Discussion about paving on Main Street from basically the entrance to the country club south to US 1, or I guess east to US 1. Is that still in the works, or will that be taking place?
Actually, it was supposed to go to city council next Wednesday, but I think it's going to be pushed because of the agenda packet. I do have an assessment I just recently completed for this year. It's still on the list, but it's not, I think it's programmed for the following years. But most of these streets that we talked about in the past, they're on the assessment list, but not for this coming or next year. It's in the future year for Main Street.
Oh, good. I thought it was supposed to be this year, from what I understanding that we had discussed earlier.
I apologize. It's not on for this year. It is on for a future year.
And just one other comment, one, or actually twice coming down Main Street, isn't it on? At night, the lights for the signs were off. Is there any reason for that?
Repeat that again, pardon?
The lights that were on for the city sign out front
They
were
stay-
off
oh,
at
they're-
night.
Those are on timers. I'll check with our building staff, make sure that the lights are on, the timers are correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, on Schumann Drive, the sidewalk is being repaired by city employees. Is that city responsibility?
That is correct. That was a CIP project that we did a city crews, and then we contracted it out to our. We have a ongoing sidewalk repair contract with one of our local contractors, and so we took out the sidewalk and they installed a new sidewalk in the sidewalks.
So that's only on Schumann Drive or any other place we have the same thing? No.
Schumann Drive was on the CIP to be taken care of, so that's why it was taken care of this year.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioners' matters? None. I have one. Leave it to me, of course. It's just kind of a general question. Mr. Frank Antonavi, the railroad crossing down here, I noted is being going to be closed this weekend, and is that tied in related some way or other to the All Aboard Florida upgrades that are going to be happening at the crossings, or has that decision not come through yet?
To answer the first question, I believe part of that railroad improvements, it is tied to the future rail improvements with the All Aboard Florida. The other cities I know in the past year, Vero Beach had their tracks redone, as well as some of the tracks in the county. This is our turn now. The issue regarding, so it is, I believe it is tied, but the overall update on the All Aboard Florida is we were supposed to receive 100% plans now from the Federal Rail Administration and All Aboard Florida. And the last conversation I had with Rusty Roberts is we should be getting it within the next couple of weeks. That will show us then the improvements with those crossings, sidewalks, and hopefully all the safety requirements for the quiet zones.
Okay, that was my big question, if that had been received yet. You'd hinted that it was coming, but as with anything involving a big project like that, it's going to take a long time. It's unfortunate they've taken this long to get it to us because the different crossings have different problems, and I'm really acutely aware of one on Barber Street near where I live. And it's because I cross the track all the time. I see residents pushing shopping carts from the grocery store or Walgreens to one of the developments there, and it's just no safe spot for someone to be doing that.
We, as a city, when we went through the early review process 2 years ago, we submitted 3 railroad crossing sidewalk improvements. One was at Barber Street, one was at Schumann, and the other one was right here at Main Street. All 3 of those projects, I believe, are tied into the improvements with All Aboard Florida. We're hoping to see all those improvements as part of the All Aboard Florida 100% plans, and we're hoping to see that most of that cost is covered through that project. As soon as we hear and get the 100% plans, we will probably, council will probably want to get involved in reviewing the process and make sure all the commissions have a chance to look at it, because this is a large, controversial project. And then we can move forward with the quiet zones as well.
That is. I just wanted clarification for a lot of people to hear that, because I know everyone is really anxious to have it happen, and you can't do it any quicker than what you're given the information. So the city is not the holdup. The holdup.
Correct. The held up what happened with All Aboard Florida was that when the Federal Rail Administration got more involved, because of the issues that's been going on with other counties, they now had additional reviews that held up the All Aboard Florida from what they're telling us. That's the reason why when you go back in the notes, it says that the All Aboard Florida was going to release us 90% plans. What happens was the Federal Rail Administration has provided way more detailed reviews and way more detailed comments, to the point where now All Aboard Florida says, you know what, we're going to get all their comments addressed first, and kind of like a quasi 100% plans, and then release it out to local agencies, because it wouldn't be right to give out 90% plans and then the Federal Rail guys supersedes the local comments. Let's get all the Federal Rail comments first, and then let's have the local people provide local comments. And that's what they just last week, I believe, they released the revised plans back to St. Lucie and Martin County. So we're next.
Good. I really appreciate your past experience from out west and bringing that here, because that's been invaluable to the city of Sebastian to have that experience come into play, to watch over what they're bringing to us. And I know that with that experience, you're going to make sure we get the best crossings possible and the safest ones. So your diligence is definitely observed, so thank you. That's it from my point. It's questions. Do we have any city attorney's matters? I mean, everything's been pent up for a long time. You certainly must have a comment or two.
Just thank you for those nice words at the beginning. I appreciate it. Believe me, I'm glad to be here as opposed to where I was. And thanks. Nothing to report tonight.
I know, you just got tired of the hospital food. That was it. Yes. Staff matters.
None tonight.
Quiet. Any items for the next agenda from the commissioners or the staff that we should be aware of at this point? Okay, hearing none. We're ready to adjourn unless anyone has anything else. This meeting is adjourned.